Here's Brody Brazil.
So the Denver Broncos are one of the NFL's resurgent teams. They're back in the playoffs. They've captivated everybody's attention and emotion all over again. They've got a quarterback. They've got a group to build around. So yeah, now is the perfect time to ask for a new stadium. And not just a new stadium, like literally another new stadium, because this is Empower Field. It was built in 2001. There's a lease here, by the way, until after the 2030 season. I want to make that very clear. This is not an issue right around the corner, but it's something that the Broncos are already starting to think about and to plan around. And they're wondering, do we try and fix this up, or do we just shoot for a brand new stadium here or somewhere else? Let me first tell you and remind you about Empower Field. Opened in August of 2001. It replaced Mile High Stadium on the very same site. And this stadium, Empower Field, it just received a $100 million upgrade in 2023, less than 2 years ago. Again, it's on the current and only site of NFL football in Denver since 1960. I think it was an AFL team before it was an NFL team. But they've only known like this level of professional football at this site. In fact, a little model, this tiny scale model of Mile High Stadium is in the parking lot where it used to actually stand. They built this at the turn of the century. Back then, it only cost $400 million. Man, inflation really hits hard. Seats 76,125 fans. It's publicly owned by something called the Metropolitan Football Stadium District. So it's not a Broncos ownership of the stadium type situation. But in recent years, and quite honestly over time, this stadium has been criticized for a couple different things. Number one, the location, which is strange because it's the only location. But I think fans and residents maybe are preferring it were somewhere else, or the chance to do it somewhere else, and traffic and ingress and egress, or maybe just a better proximity to downtown. Configuration and the fact that it kind of just works for football. And yeah, they do concerts there, but there's also no roof, no ability to close the top. And in Denver, I'm not sure if you're aware, but they have some weather up there in the mountains in the Mile High City. So it snows a lot, it's cold a lot. They could do stuff year round if they could make it an indoor/outdoor, or maybe just an indoor football stadium. And obviously the infrastructure has been criticized. They built this, I guess, the best they could right around the year 2000. But since then, technology and a lot of things have changed, and they don't necessarily have the ability to implement all of that without some overhauls. This is Greg Penner. He is the CEO and co-owner of the Denver Broncos, talking about the overall situation. Quote, with the stadium, I'm sure you all have seen some rumors recently. We are continuing to do our due diligence. It is a complex question of stadium and what to do and go somewhere else. Complex question and decision of what we decide to do. We haven't ruled out anything at this point. We are still looking at options on the current site around Denver, and we visited other places like Lone Tree. What is that? I'll explain in just a second. We still have more steps to take there. So he's kind of firing off the warning shot to everybody. We know our lease, again, expires after the 2030 season. So he's just letting everybody know here 5 years in advance. And look, if it takes 3 years to build a stadium, the next year or two, you probably do need to figure this out, if in fact they were going to go that route. But building something new to replace something that's not even 25 years old, more on that in just a second. Here are the options. You can either remodel Empower Field in the off seasons, do it like you want to do it better. You can build a new stadium on the same site. You know why you can do that? Because there's so much parking space area to build on. Like, you could literally put it where Mile High Stadium used to be. Imagine the sequence of events there. Old stadium, then new stadium, then another stadium. So many stadiums. Or you could build a new stadium elsewhere in the region. Lone Tree was mentioned. There's also a place called Burnham Yards, which I will show you visually here in just a second. But that's kind of it in terms of the options that are out there. So this is Empower Field. This right here is Ball Arena. It used to be called the Pepsi Center. That's where the Avs and Nuggets play. And then over here is Coors Field where the Rockies play. I'll show you that in a better image in just a second. But yeah, I mean, look at all this parking space here. That right there is the tiny scale model of Mile High Stadium, because this is, again, the same site that it used to be on. And so I guess I understand, like, you're far away from downtown Denver. Like there's nothing surrounding this. And that's what teams love in this day and age. They love an experience. They also love real estate, if I'm being totally honest with you. So they're probably not getting everything they want out of this site. To some degree, that's got to be part of this equation. But when you just look at the stadium, I mean, appearance-wise, it seems and feels pretty modern, and it's kind of crazy to think that like this just doesn't work for you. It's not that far from downtown Denver and Ball Arena and everything else. It's not the worst thing in the world, and we're already talking about replacing this. It's kind of hard to believe. Burnham Yards. I'll show you the visual on it in a second, but this was a rail yard for more than 150 years. It was purchased in 2021 by the Colorado Department of Transportation. They thought they were going to need all of it for freeways and construction and everything else, but it turns out they're either not entirely going to use it or not going to use it at all. I'm not certain about that. There is the potential, they say, for about 40 acres on this site or more that could be unused or sold for development. Basically, the Department of Transportation bought it. They overbought, and now they don't know what to do with it, and they're looking to flip it, and that's why a lot of people think, hey, the Denver Broncos might want to get in if they really want to buy this site. But this site, to me, is likely a real estate option more than anything else. And I'll show you where it's at. In fact, let's take a look at it. But see, this is one of those sites here, and it is right here from what I understand. It's like that chunk of land right there. This site would be more of a real estate deal. Here's current Empower Field. Imagine building the stadium right there. You know what? I'll do this in blue. Imagine doing the stadium right there, and then you can put some retail, and you can put some residential, and you can put some commercial, and I'm doing every single color I can. You can put a bunch of different things down there because you have all of that space, all of that land. Is that 40 acres? I don't know. That feels like it's a lot more than 40 acres there. But the lay of the land looks like this. Empower Field right there. You've got, you know what? I'll do this. I'll do purple for the Rockies. That makes a lot more sense. Coors Field is over there. Empower Field is right there, and then Ball Arena is right there. So you've kind of got the 1, 2, 3 trilogy of sports stadiums. This would be adding one down here. So I mean, it makes sense down there. I don't know that you necessarily want to put this in a 70,000 seat stadium like right downtown. Somewhere in this location does seem like, you know, a corresponding fit, but you're really going to do all of this. Like if the location here wasn't great, you're just going to go right here. That's going to be the game changer and the difference for you. I mean, if you've got land here to develop in the parking lot, I'm not sure who owns it or how they attain it or do something to it, but it seems like that could be an option just as easy as that could be an option. Just build on the same site. But again, all of this kind of circles back to the 25-year question. I realize a lot of you are saying you're burying the lead. What about the fact that you're trying to replace a basically new stadium? Yeah, we'll get to that. Lone Tree is an area down here about 15 miles south of downtown Denver. So that's downtown. That's where one stadium is, one arena is, and Coors Field, yeah, is right there. You can see it. So you got to take I-25 south here, and you get to Lone Tree. And from what I understand, the Broncos practice facility is in this area. It's in this region. So that would kind of be a fit. But now we're talking about a total change of plans here. There's a lot of land out here in Lone Tree. Now, this is totally a real estate development. Is that what all of this is about? Is it about the opportunity to fix up the stadium? Because again, Empower Field being 25 years old, is it really unfixable? If you want a roof, I guess it's probably not an easy thing to do. But maybe it's cheaper just to throw a roof on top of that stadium if there's no reasons why you can't. Anyway, long story short here, these are my takeaways. 24 years later after this opened, and we're talking about considering replacement. Yeah, that's the facepalm. It's mind-blowing to me. And Denver is not by any means the only situation. You've got the Texans in this same situation right now. You've got the Cleveland Browns in this situation. So Houston and Cleveland, and now Denver. Stadiums that are about 25 years old. In fact, in Tennessee, the Titans are getting a new stadium. And I'm pretty sure their current/old one opened in the late 90s, like 97, I want to say. We are replacing stadiums at a rapid rate here. Now, again, I can understand if the whole thing here was, hey, this is all about a roof, right? We want a roof because we can't have the Taylor Swift concert in November outdoors at Empower Field. We just can't in Denver. I get that. And then you could make the facility a year-round facility and draw a bunch of people and the Broncos play there, and maybe that's probably the prudent thing to do the next time around. Well, at 25 years, are we at the next time around? I don't know. But I understand that. But I have a feeling that it's more about real estate and the ability to develop around the stadium rather than putting a roof on it and using it for twice as many dates a year. If the Broncos can't fund this, by the way, like if this is supposed to be a publicly funded thing, is it really their decision? Is this really like, oh, we're going to call the shots on this? No, they're trying to negotiate right now. That's why they want to let everybody know that, hey, we're talking about this. We're exploring all our options. We're going to throw darts all over the place and just see what sticks and see what lands. But unless there's somebody that's willing to pay, like, are they offering, hey, we'll pay for this? Or how would that work? Or do they even approach that yet? Do they just try and explore interest and then see what they can get out of it first before they commit anything to it? It's probably like that. And that's kind of where you get into this city versus suburb trend. A lot of cities say, hey, we don't have the land, we don't have the space, we don't have the opportunity for this. Denver seems like it does, but you might go out to the suburbs and get a much more sweetheart, better deal out in the suburbs. That's kind of what the Cleveland Browns are aiming to do. And so stay tuned to this. This is a trend which I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling. And especially for football, who only plays, 8 to 10 home games per season in their stadiums. I mean, do the math of, let's just say 10 or 11 games a year, add in preseason, add in a couple playoff games. 10 or 11 times 24 years. That's not a lot of total Broncos games at this stadium. Think about the amount. I should have done that math here. I'll do this math for you right now before this video ends. Hypothetically, right? And I should know it off the top of my head. Let's just say 11 games a year times 24 seasons. That's simple math, Brazil. 264 total Broncos games. And we're talking about replacement of the stadium. That's crazy. I don't know what else to say. That's crazy that few amount of games and usage. And there are other events, don't get me wrong. They use the place, but it's just done. It's outdated. It needs replacement. Would you really tear that place down after maybe 27, 28 years when it's all said and done after 2030? Maybe more like 20, 29, whatever. Do the math. Another Broncos stadium. We'll see how this plays out. Or maybe they're just trying to angle for some more public money to fix this place up even more. Maybe it's just that. Who knows, but it's something to pay attention to. That's the end of this video. Thumbs up for making it here to the end. Down below, I would appreciate that. Helps me, this video, and this channel. And one more thing, don't forget to subscribe to this channel down below. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.